Have you ever stopped to consider that there exists a kind of intelligence no one ever teaches? It's not found in books nor in classrooms, yet somehow people sense it and fear it. It doesn't seek the spotlight, it doesn't crave applause. It operates silently in the shadows, precise and almost terrifying in its subtlety. Do you know someone like that? That person who seems to control the room without raising their voice, or that woman who smiles politely while moving pieces no one else can see. They don't speak much, but when they do, everyone listens, not because of volume, but because their words are sharp instruments. This is what we call shadow intelligence. Once you grasp it, your worldview will never be the same. Because this mind doesn't react, it observes, it doesn't plead, it positions itself. It finishes things quietly. Niccolo Machiavelli, a remarkable thinker, didn't admire intellect for its brilliance, but for its potential danger, for the ability to dominate unnoticed. If you've ever felt different, not merely sensitive but keenly observant, this video is for you. Once you unlock this, you'll never be ordinary again. No one will teach you this, not in school, not in books, not in polite society. Because if people understood how shadow intelligence truly works, they would fear you long before you lifted a finger. You don't start by learning, you start by observing. At first you remain silent, you watch more than you speak. You listen long enough to notice gaps in people's stories. You smile at jokes that aren't funny, not because you're amused, but because you're noting who desperately seeks approval. You're not cold yet, but you are becoming so. The world around you operates in chaos. People argue over trivialities, defend lies to protect their egos. They speak loudly when afraid, pretend strength while crumbling inside. You watch it all, and slowly the patterns behind the chaos begin to emerge. It all begins with a simple truth. People are predictable when they feel safe, and that's when you step in silently. You learn to ask the right questions, not to get answers, but to make people reveal what they're hiding. You offer them silence and let their discomfort expose them. You let their emotions write their confessions. And while they think you are harmless, you are gathering information discreetly and completely. Shadow intelligence doesn't require fanfare. It thrives in quiet, in places where others feel too comfortable to protect themselves, and gradually your mind begins to change. You no longer see people as they pretend to be. You see utility, fragility, influence, and risk. You spot the liar before they speak, the insecure before they boast, the traitor before they betray. You become 5 seconds faster than everyone else, 5 steps ahead because your mind is no longer emotional, it's tactical. This is the turning point, not when you become smarter, but when you cease to be naive. You realize that truth matters less than belief, that trust is a tool, and that most people lie to themselves and to you. If you can control their illusions, you can control them. This is shadow intelligence. It's not IQ, charisma, or hard work. It's control through perception. You start using your words like weapons, deliberate, measured, never wasted. You drop truths like poison, slow, undetectable, irreversible. You stop defending yourself, justifying your decisions, or reacting to disrespect, because now you know how to make people regret without confrontation. You're no longer playing by their rules. You're shaping the game to suit your design. You never reveal your full mind. You don't share your goals. You don't let people know when they've hurt you, because in your world, pain is just another data point. You are transforming into someone else, not cold, not cruel, but strategic. This is the phase Machiavelli admired most, the silent metamorphosis, when a person stops trying to fit a flawed world and begins to reshape it. And the best part? No one knows what you've become until it's too late. They think you're still harmless, still innocent, still just quiet. They don't realize they're already caught in your web because you've been planning this for months, maybe years, and now you don't need power, you are the power. This is how shadow intelligence is born. Not in a flash of genius, but in long, silent hours of observation, understanding, and building a mind so dangerous it never needs to announce itself. Welcome to your new self. The version that chases nothing because now everything comes to you, and no one will see it happen. You've crossed the threshold. You stopped seeking approval. You started listening more than speaking. You are not just smart anymore, you are becoming dangerous. But what does that mean? It means you've started developing traits that ordinary people fear, even if they can't name them. Do you want to discover the 5 core traits of the intelligently dangerous? Each silent, each lethal. The first thing they notice in you is your calm. You don't react as expected. You aren't shaken by insults, nor do you crumble under pressure, because you are no longer driven by emotion. You've detached from it. You don't suppress feelings, you study them. Your anger becomes analysis. Your sadness becomes strategy. Your fear becomes foresight. You don't let emotions dictate your actions. You let them reveal others' vulnerabilities. While they shout and panic, you remain silent, calculating. This silence is far from empty. It's the sound of a mind sharpening. You don't just look at people, you dissect them. You watch their hands when they speak, their eyes when they lie, the tone when they desire something. You hear what's unsaid. You sense tension shifts when someone hides something. You don't need confessions, you already know. This trait makes you unsettling. People feel watched, and it terrifies them because deep down they know you sense their weakness. Machiavelli once said, "A promise made was a necessity of the past. A broken word is a necessity of the present." Do you understand? You anticipate betrayal. You see it forming before it happens. When you enter a room, you don't need to speak to be noticed. Your presence is intentional. Your silence is more eloquent than the shouting of most people. Why? Because you're not trying to be interesting. You're aiming to be unpredictable. The intelligently dangerous understand the power of mystery. You reveal just enough to spark curiosity, never enough to become predictable. People fear what they don't comprehend, and you give them just enough uncertainty to keep them cautious. You've learned that power doesn't come from being everywhere. It comes from being missed when absent. Rarity equals power. Most people speak to fill silence. You speak to plant ideas. Every word is a move. Every phrase a signal. You use pauses, tone, and questions as instruments. You don't convince. You guide others to convince themselves. You speak with surgical precision to distract, unsettle, and influence. You know when to praise, when to stay silent, and when silence is more impactful than argument. This makes you dangerous. Once you speak, the conversation bends to your favor, not by force, but through invisible persuasion. The final trait is what destroys most people but builds the intelligently dangerous. You no longer need anyone. You don't crave praise, recognition, or understanding. You've become your own source of validation. And when someone has nothing left to prove, they become untouchable. People try to control others with guilt, shame, and obligation. None of this works on you. You've buried the old version of yourself, the one begging for clarity, loyalty, or affection. Now you move like a ghost. You appear strategically, disappear when it's time to feel your absence. This makes you more powerful than any title or weapon. The man who needs nothing cannot be manipulated. These 5 traits don't make you ordinary. They make you an anomaly, a force in a noisy world because people can't explain why, yet they feel uneasy around you. This is shadow intelligence, and you're just beginning. But shadow intelligence means nothing if not applied. Power without action is merely a secret. So how do we move from observation to execution? You've developed the traits, sharpened the blade. Now it's time to use the weapon. First, control conversations without dominating them. Most people speak to win. You speak to guide. Let others talk. Let them reveal themselves. Your goal isn't to impress, it's to extract data. Ask questions that seem innocent but penetrate the mind. Why do you think that? How did it make you feel? What happened next? These questions lower defenses and make them feel seen. But what you're truly doing is finding points of influence. Speak just enough to shift thinking, never enough to reveal your own strategy. You're not in the conversation, you're controlling it from within. Second, use silence as pressure. Most people cannot handle silence. They rush to fill it, explain, apologize, but you embrace it. Someone tries to manipulate you. Say nothing. Let them drown in their own guilt. They expect resistance. You give them quiet. And this quiet feels like power. It's the pause before speech. Look at people just a moment longer. Let them feel the weight of being observed. That discomfort is control. Third, mirror their emotions, then redirect them. If someone is angry, balance the energy. If insecure, act uncertain. If proud, be humble. Then flip the mirror. Twist their own emotions to guide them. Anger, redirect it to a third party. Insecurity. Offer a subtle compliment that ties them to your goal. Pride, use flattery to position them where you need. This is manipulation without force. People walk where you want them voluntarily, thinking it was their idea. Fourth, reveal your intentions only after winning. Never announce plans or explain motives in advance. Let them misinterpret, underestimate you. When the outcome favors you, reveal the truth silently, coldly. They realize too late they were part of your strategy all along. Fifth, never wield power emotionally. This is where most fail. They act on impulse, punish for satisfaction, attack to prove a point. You act with cold intention. Remove someone cleanly. No shouting, no public spectacle, no emotional residue. Just a silent closure. If someone crosses you, never react immediately. Strike when benefit aligns with your objective, not ego. Shadow intelligence is not about revenge, it's about calculated correction. Make responses feel like the universe righting a wrong, not that you're holding grudges. Lastly, conceal your depth. Never reveal your full mind. People respect intelligence, but they fear what they don't understand. Give them just enough to seem insightful, never enough to reveal strategy. When people feel secure, they become careless. That's when you move. The smartest play? Let them think they are smarter than you. Let them fall into the trap you built with their own help. You don't need a throne to rule. You don't need status to win. Shadow intelligence is silent domination, the power to move people, influence outcomes, and control your environment without being seen as the source. Machiavelli praised the fox over the lion. Anyone can roar, but the fox wins by knowing where to step and whom to bite when no one is watching. By now, your mind is not just sharp, it's armed. They won't realize it until it's too late. The most dangerous arena isn't war or politics, it's relationships. Curious how this applies to daily interactions? Keep watching. Here, most people falter, trading logic for emotion, begging, explaining, surrendering their power for love, loyalty, or guilt. But with shadow intelligence, relationships aren't traps, they're power structures. Each is a battlefield where control is won or lost. You start seeing the game clearly. Every conversation is a negotiation, every compliment a potential bribe, every silence a signal. Most reveal intentions too early. They want approval, understanding. You, however, remain silent, not from coldness but calculation. You let others speak first, exposing their patterns, tangling themselves in the rope you subtly hold. You know all about them. They don't realize how much they give away when they talk. You see insecurity behind sarcasm, weakness behind confidence, hidden motives behind kindness. When tested, you don't resist. You disappear. Disrespect isn't confronted, it's neutralized. Your silence is more terrifying than anger. They expect argument or emotional reaction, but your disappearance makes them reflect, panic, realize they lost control. That's the power of emotional distance. It makes you rare, untouchable. They adjust behavior around you, not because you demand it, but because they sense your standards. They notice you're different. You're not seeking approval or trying to fix them. You're not available like others. This mystery becomes control, not through fear, not through love, but through tacit understanding that you cannot be manipulated. Affection doesn't buy access. Loyalty without strategy means nothing. Closeness is a privilege you can revoke anytime. You punish not with words, but with absence. Nothing haunts a manipulator more than being ignored by the one they can't control. Shadow intelligence doesn't make you insensitive. It makes you precise. You don't form emotional bonds by default. You choose who sees you, and even then, they never see all of you. This separates you from everyone else. They run to validation, you run to clarity. They offer love to avoid loneliness. You offer silence to reveal their desperation. They demand answers. You offer quiet. And that quiet terrifies because it means you've seen inside them and decided they're not worth a response. You no longer argue, explain, or repeat your value. You simply disappear when energy turns false. Those left behind are forced to question why. That's where regret begins. You never raised your voice, never explained, but your absence said it all. This is how you gain power in relationships, not by controlling others, but mastering yourself. You need no affection, no approval, no understanding. You've built something far more potent, a presence that cannot be controlled, a mind no one dares challenge. By now, something has changed. You no longer react as before. You don't explain, argue, or overextend. You've become static but not passive, quiet but not weak. That is what shadow intelligence does. It refines you into a weapon that doesn't need wielding. You can enter a room and say nothing, yet all eyes turn, not for charisma, not for performance, but because you carry a presence that feels unpredictable, untouchable. You don't need to dominate. You've already surpassed the game. People underestimate you, and that's your favorite part. You've learned to wear masks when needed, speak in layers, leave no fingerprints behind. You've become unreadable, unshakable, unstoppable. This is your final form, not a loud genius, not a public mentor, but a ghost in the system, moving pieces while others beg to understand the rules. You don't seek revenge, you erase. You don't win arguments, you win outcomes. True power isn't shown, it's felt. You've become the kind of person who doesn't need to be seen to be feared. One who doesn't chase but attracts, doesn't react but projects, doesn't break but watches others crumble under the weight of your silence. You stopped playing their game and began creating your own. This is what happens when intelligence cools, when observation becomes foresight, when emotion is no longer your master but your tool. This isn't about being better, it's about being smarter than the system itself. Machiavelli said, "Men are driven by two main impulses, love or fear." Shadow intelligence gives you a third path, control without either. They don't need to love you, they don't need to fear you, they just need to know you're watching silently, carefully, permanently. If you've made it this far, know this is no accident. You are not a mere spectator, you're a survivor in the noise. This journey revealing the layers of shadow intelligence is not just about the world outside, but about awakening what lies within. A silent, profound transformation has begun. Your mind, sharper and more perceptive, now perceives the world in a new way, and perception is the first step to true power. Leave a like and share this video.